Yeah, what's going on, guys? Welcome back to Strikeout Bros. I'm Pablo. We got Lasha here with us, and we're about to get busy with it. We're going to talk about the World Baseball Classic and how our teams are doing, because I'm rooting for Puerto Rico, obviously. Not happy with the team and what they put together, but look, it seems to be working out. But DR looks like they're on fire, too, and they want to win something. Let's see what happens. What's good, Lash?
What's up, man? Yeah, man. 2 weeks from today starts the
Oh, God.
season.
Yes.
I'm excited. Uh, but right now, the biggest thing going on in the baseball world is the World Baseball Classic. We're now in the quarterfinal stages. So, as we talked about in the previous episode, there's four groups. Only two teams from each group advances to the quarterfinals. So for Group A, both Canada and Puerto Rico advanced, which was good. I was a little bit concerned about Puerto Rico because they have all those players that couldn't play because they weren't allowed to be insured, and I didn't think I felt like their team was very weak without those guys. But
I agree.
I guess they lucked out playing in a pool that was not all that great. Besides Canada, that they were able to advance. So we'll see how they do. So both from Pool A is going to be Canada. They won the pool, and Puerto Rico is the runner-up. They both had the same record. In
Yeah.
Pool B, it was Italy, which by far is the biggest surprise of this whole tournament. I didn't have Italy on my bingo card
Yeah, same
to
here.
go this
Same.
far. They're 4-0, and then USA. USA won because of they had a situation where the Mexico had to lose by a certain amount of runs or
Yeah,
whatever.
they slept on Italy. That's what happened. That's the situation.
Yeah,
They slept on Italy. Italy came, beat that ass, and then they had to wait for someone to lose for them to be able to
Mexico
qualify.
can't. Yeah, so Italy wins the Pool B, and USA's runner up, and then Pool C is Japan. They've been lights out 4-0. They
Oh,
just
yeah, of course. Yeah.
swept through everybody, and then Korea, they're the runner up in that Pool C, and for Pool D, same thing. Dominican, I call it the fun team because
Yeah, they're having a lot of
they're
fun. This
having a
is
lot of
something we have to
fun.
talk about. Yeah, but I want you to continue what you're doing right now. But we're gonna talk about how much fun they're having in a way where they're comparing a guy surrounded by his countrymen battling for a championship against other countries versus him playing in his uniform that he's going to be wearing for the next 15 years, hopefully. You know what I'm saying? Not hopefully, but
Yeah,
let's hope that he wears it, for as long as it takes to win a championship. How about that? You know?
yeah.
But
And then
continue.
Venezuela was the runner up. They finished 3-1. They had a pretty good tournament. So with that being said, we now have the quarterfinals matchup, and I'm gonna list off the matchups and the location and the
Please do.
TV
Please do.
and all that. So quarterfinal game number one, which is today, which is Korea versus the Dominican Republic. That took place today, but it was in Miami, Florida, on FS1. The quarterfinal number two game is going on right now, which is United States versus Canada. It's like a rematch of hockey, but
Yes,
baseball
sir.
version. Currently, USA is winning 5-3 in the eighth. That's on Fox. And then the quarterfinal four matchups, these two will be tomorrow. Puerto Rico versus Italy in Houston, Texas on FS1. And quarterfinal number four game is Japan versus Venezuela, also in Miami, Florida. So the quarterfinals are and finals are in the quarterfinals are in Houston and Miami, and the
Miami.
semifinals and the finals are in Miami,
In
Florida.
Miami. Yeah.
So out of all these teams, I think team that could give that the game I'm looking to see is Puerto Rico versus Italy. I want to see how Puerto Rico does. I think Puerto Rico has a better lineup offensively, but Italy has pretty good pitching, and their lineup is pretty good too. So that's what I'm looking forward to.
Nah,
Seeing
I
that
want to see
matchup.
how far these Dominicans can take this shit. That's what I want to see. I want to see they have a bomb squad. You know what I'm saying? So like, I want to see what the hell. What does it take? That's what it takes right there. Can they beat the Otanis? You know what I'm saying? That's what I want to know. Can that team beat the Otanis? That's what I really want to see. Listen, I'm down for Puerto Rico. My team didn't put it together like they're supposed to. I don't think they're gonna survive. Now, the DRs versus the Shoheis, that's what I want to see in the end. You know what I'm saying? And I want to see those two teams battle it out because I think those are the two best teams. And as you can see, their record is pretty, pretty
Undefeated.
amazing. Yeah, exactly. Okay, so
Well, I like reason why I like to see that that'd be a good matchup, Japan versus DR, because you have the showboaters, I call them, the Dominican team,
yes, yes,
showboat.
yeah, no
Everything
doubt.
is
Nah,
fancy
you know what? Okay,
versus the
you call it
quiet
that,
team.
but are not they're not having fun? They're having fun. It's different. It's
Yeah,
different.
it's a
It's
good
different.
thing.
It's like
Yeah,
it's a little different. It's not the same. It's not like being on a
they're not
on a
being
regular
cocky.
team.
Yeah,
Nah, it's different. There's a lot of pride involved, and they all love the sport. They all get paid a lot of money to play that sport because we're talking about high caliber Dominican baseball players. You know what I'm saying? They're all banking. You know what I'm saying? They all make raking. So for good reason, of course, for good reason. And I think they have something.
yeah, no, definitely. Because one thing, Japan is they're dangerous, but they're quietly dangerous. They're not. They're the opposite of Dominican.
No
They
doubt.
just because they're not showboating or having fun and dancing doesn't mean they're not
One
invested
hundred
or
percent correct
truly
about that
interested.
shit.
They're just dealing with it a different way
Yeah.
or going about it a
Ah,
different
no,
way.
they're super professional about that shit. That's
Uh,
what it is.
I like that. I like both.
Of
Both are
course,
fun. You need
yeah.
both. It balances out the sport. You know, the people that view baseball as a church. You gotta kind of yes, some things should be the old traditional way. Some things can be new. But you know, baseball is trying so hard to gear towards acquiring new fans. And how do you acquire new fans? You get the teams like the Dominicans. They're having fun. They're walking around plantains and doing all these crazy fun celebrations, and that's fun to watch. I enjoy it. It's fun. It doesn't bother me. And the other teams that they're facing don't seem to have a problem with it. They're like, all right, hey, we
That's
gave up a
it.
home run, we lost. All right, that's on us.
Yeah.
So and there hasn't been no fights, nothing crazy. Uh, but I would like to see. I like it. It's good. It's good for both sports. But Japan is. I like that. I like that. I'm the type of guy. I like it where you put your head down. You go to work. Do what you got to put your head down, and let your work do the talking for you. But both the Dominicans are doing the same thing. They're letting their work do the talking. Plus, they're also chatting. Showing it up with. But they're not like before the game. Like, yeah, we're gonna kick Japan's butt. They have nothing. They're not doing that, which is good. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
They're doing it after they hit the home run and do whatever it is that they won.
All right,
So
we gotta celebrate. We have to celebrate. Come
yeah,
on.
it's fun. It's once every
Uh,
2 years. It's a fun tournament.
yeah. I want to get it out the way though, because everybody's. I'm looking forward to the season. I want to see what we got going on. I have a lot to talk about when it comes to the rotation. I have a lot to talk
Yeah,
about Soto, and we're gonna transition. Matter of fact, before we go into the transition, we should talk about Soto because we're talking about the World Baseball Classic.
he's
We're
been
talking
doing
about.
great, man.
Okay, so this is the
I
thing,
want to see
right?
if it
So
carries over.
he's been showboating. He's been, not his, usual self. Like when he plays for in Queens, he's been, having a lot of fun. And I feel like that type of Soto is a lot more relaxed and a lot more dangerous. That's the kind of guy I want to see swing back over this way. When he can select the Queens, but we'll see what happens. Because in Queens, he's super quiet. He looks like he's not comfortable. This is his second year now. Let's see what happens. Hopefully that energy that he has over there, he brings it back over and he sets it off right. We'll see. What do you
Yeah,
think, man?
yeah. Like I said, it's his first year, so he had to get acclimated to new teammates. The city's the same. There's no difference. He's
Yeah.
still living in
Once
the same
again, he has to
place.
acclimate himself to new teammates. A whole lot
Yes.
of them.
And now he's gonna get more new teammates. Roberts, Bichette, um, the starting pitcher I already forgot.
Polanco,
Peralta,
Peralta,
Polanco.
Polanco. Man,
So on and so on. So again, but uh, Last year, kind of, just watching him, he just was like kind of more like to himself. He wasn't as, happy, energetic like he was with the Yankees.
Nah,
Um,
they said he wasn't too energetic with the Yankees either. You could tell that he was in his head a lot.
yeah,
It's just something. I guess you want to call it a transitional phase. Sure, call it that. I mean,
I
let's see. I just want him to hit the ball. You know what I'm saying? Hit the ball and look like you will belong. Don't look like we're paying for your services and you don't really want to be there. You just oh okay, these guys paid me the most to hit the most, to hit home runs, so I'm just gonna go with them. I hope it's not like that for him. I hope he enjoys the season. I hope he has fun with these new guys. I hope that he brings that positive energy to the ball club. We need that shit.
yeah,
I'm not,
I think it'll be a better year. Like I said, look at Lindor. If his first year he kind of struggled. Once he got comfortable, he did great. He's been great since.
yeah, you're right.
You see, Lindor is very predictable. That's one thing with Lindor. All right, yeah, he starts out slow, but once it gets hot, he takes off and the show's over. So that's just great. Um, Soto's not really like that. He does have his hot moments and his cold moments, but for the most part, he's pretty consistent too. But it'll be interesting how he does. I think he's gonna feel a little more pressure this year than last year. I think he's gonna have to feel pressure to produce more than he did last year. I'm
You
not
think
saying his
so?
numbers are bad.
I mean,
They
yeah,
weren't bad.
because we lost the Alonso bat. You know what I'm saying? Like I don't know,
Yeah,
but
you
what?
lost a power bat. Yeah,
Okay, I
you
mean,
lost up a
listen.
setup. So let's be honest with you. Alonso was a setup man.
Yeah, but you're gonna see. Let's see what Robert Jr. can do. Let's see if I don't know what the lineup is gonna be. Like I said, we're waiting to see. But
Yeah, it's still early. 2 weeks from
it's still
now,
early.
it's
Yeah,
still
until we will
early.
see exactly what's
You're
going
not
on.
gonna know until literally Thursday morning. That's when we play, or you guys
Yeah,
play.
and then I say, oh my god, you know what I'm saying? I'm gonna either love it or I'm gonna hate it. But either way, I hope it works out.
See,
Now,
that doesn't bother me. See, I'm not a big fan of like. I don't care about the way the lineup goes. It does. I does to me. My
it
thing is, are you
bothers
gonna
me.
produce? I don't
No,
care.
no,
As long as you
no, no,
produce, I
no.
don't care if you're hitting one or six
You
or
have
nine.
to you have to allocate these players in the right spot for the machine to work, man. It's just not that simple. You just can't say, oh hey, go ahead guys, what you want to do? You want to bet? Sure, let's do that. No, that it doesn't work like that. You have these players and they all have special abilities, and you have to capitalize on those abilities, and you have to make sure you slot them properly because if you don't, then you're fucked. It's a machine. Don't forget, it's not like this asshole the other day that scored the 82 points. Everybody's like, oh my God, he scored 82 points. Listen, bro, you shot so many times, you know what I'm saying? And in the fourth quarter, you did not pass the ball. You know what I'm saying? Like, I don't think so. It doesn't work like that. It's a team sport, bro. Get out of here with that. You know? Can't do that in baseball. Yeah, a guy can come in and hit 3 homers in a game, right? But the team still has to perform defensively and offensively to win this game. You know what I'm saying? Like, get out of here. It's a team sport. That's a true team sport. In basketball, you can pull off that bullshit, and I don't think so.
Yeah, no, no, no. I agree. I agree. Because with the Mets lineup, you want to have it where it's like power guys, then you got like your line drive hitters, and then back to power. You kind of want to in
You gotta
between,
balance it out. You have to balance it out.
balance of that. Yeah,
You have to balance it out. You have to figure out, that fourth slot is very important. That first slot is very important. And for some reason, managers keep forgetting that ninth slot is very important as well. You know what I'm
yeah,
saying? Especially now that we have a DH, it's not like okay, and now it was different. We knew the pitcher was coming up, and if he was doing well in the game, he was definitely gonna hit. So we don't want to hear it. It's not like that anymore. That ninth slot is very important, and then you kind of have to like balance it out too. It's like too many lineups for me. Like that's how I set my lineup up. Like I want to have like two go arounds 1 through 9. So like 1 through 4 is like a setup where I try to capitalize and try to score, and then the 5 through 9 is also a different setup where I might go fast again at the fifth slot, so this way he can start the wheel all over again. You know what I'm saying?
yeah. You
So
get your
I
speed
set up
guys on in the
exactly.
middle.
So I set it up like that. 1 through 4, and then 5 through 9. You know what I'm saying? And that's how I set up my lineups. This way I can have, two big opportunities to score. You know what I'm saying? I don't have to wait for the wheel to go completely around for it to like make sense and for the machine to start working again. If I have a 1 through 4 where my lineup can, get on base, maybe steal, what I'm saying, a hit, get a, a run in, that type of situation going, and then I have my, I can get bases loaded and my foreman can, get a double. I'm not saying he has to knock it out the park, but get a double and, unload bases, and then start the wheel all over again with the number 5 man. You know what I'm saying? So this number 5 man has to be fast, you know what I'm saying? He has to be hit heavy, you know what I'm saying? A low strikeout percentage, you know what I'm saying? Because we want him on base. This is what I'm
Yeah.
talking about. This is how you run a team. I mean, I'm just talking off the top of my head, but this is how much I love the game.
No, no, definitely. You want to because uh by doing it that way, it makes it harder for the opponent to set up their rotation or their bullpen because now if you know, you know the Mets are let's just say if you know okay the Mets lineup is always top heavy in the beginning and then
Exactly. That's all
light
you have to
hitting in the
worry about.
bottom.
Yeah,
You
because when you look
know
at lineups and you say, oh, you see how the lineup is set up, you're like, oh, the 1 through 4 looks hard, but then after that it slows down. So we'll have a couple of innings where things are good, and then we have to worry about these innings because these guys are coming back around. You don't want it like that. You don't want it easy.
exactly. So it make and like I said, it forces the opponents to maybe bring in pitchers that they don't want to bring in that they would usually bring in the later time of the game, but now because of where the lineup is, or at the time where those guys came in, those guys come up in the order. Maybe they came up earlier than expected, and then the original plan, because maybe the inning before they went through the lineup, one time around because they give a lot of, what I mean, you know what I mean. So it makes it interesting. I don't know. That's the one thing I would love to. It'd be cool to pick like a manager's brain and ask him like,
Of
how
course.
do you because I already know what the answer is going to be. Well, we do the lineup based on what the guys from Harvard University and the analytics tell us to
Analytics, of
do.
course.
Blah 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 blah. So you're telling me your lineup does not have there's no feeling involved. There's no not emotions, but feelings. No, like when I say feelings, I mean like
Gut,
gut
gut,
feelings.
gut, yeah.
Gut instincts. You're telling me there's nothing involved. You just simply going by numbers. I was like, come on, there's no way. How could you not take your feeling out of How could you not take your feelings out of the game? When it comes to doing the lineup.
Yeah.
Because like manager, the managers know these guys. Like, okay, man, I can tell. Lindor is on fire, man.
Yeah.
I know the lineup says blah blah. He struggles against Yo-Yo Bump. This guy. But you know what? I don't give a damn if he struggles. Great. Oh well, we'll take our chances, but keep him in there. Let's not put somebody else because fourth time around. Blah 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 blah. That nonsense that they do in
No,
baseball
it's
drives
not.
me
It's not
crazy.
nonsense. I believe in the system. I think. All right, you have to have a little bit of both. All right, but they've taken it to an extreme where it's like, all right, we have to do this. You know what I'm saying? You have to have gut feelings as well, just like you said. So it has to be a little bit of both. I'm not gonna say 50-50, but I'll go with a good 40-60, and 40 being gut. Because you have to have you know a path. You have to follow these rules. You have to have a scheme. Like you just can't go in blind saying, no, I'm just gonna go off gut. You know what I'm saying? But if you have a feeling that things are gonna work out your way, you have to gamble sometimes. That's the word that we're looking for, gambling, right? So you gamble. You say Alonzo struck out 3 times, and now bases are loaded, and we're down 2, and there's 2 outs. Do you give Alonzo the shot? Hell fucking yeah, you give Alonzo a shot.
Or what you do is you give whoever is the hottest. Yes, you would definitely give Alonso because he's
Alonzo the
your best
shot.
player.
That's
Player,
gut
but if
feeling,
he's not the
cuz you're not going
hottest,
analytics there. You're not going
no.
analytics. No, you're
If
not.
he
You're not.
if he's not the hottest guy right now, and let's say Gunnar Henderson is on fire, then you're gonna go with him.
Yeah, but it's
Or
gonna
if
but it's gonna on the
or
bench. It's
or
gonna
if
on the bench.
is
Who's on?
if
Nah,
Alvin. Oh, who's on the bench?
exactly. Nah,
That too.
you can't say that. You have to say, am I going with this bench guy? Because Alonso's 0 for 3, striking out at bullshit. You know what I'm saying? And now he has an opportunity to right the ship. You know,
So in the
by getting
Mets
a
case,
hit.
are you going to bring up Vientos? Let's just say that he rotates on the bench, or Beatty, in a crucial moment,
I
because
mean, you
those
have to
guys
go
can
with
be
your gut. Now you go with your
bench
gut. You say,
players.
I'm gonna keep Alonso in there because I think that he's due. You know. And then
Yeah,
if he strikes out, the fucking paper hates you. You know what I'm saying? The
of
team
course.
hates you.
They're going to
You
second guess
walk
your
out
opinion, thoughts.
looking like Charlie Brown and shit, walking out of City Field all pissed off at fucking management because you say he struck out 3 times, swung at some high shit, swung at some low shit, and then
Mm-hmm.
struck out looking at the other one, and you give him the opportunity to right the ship. You're down 2 runs, bases are loaded, there's 2 outs. You have to let him fucking. You have to give him a shot. You have to. I'm sorry. This is what you paid him for.
Yeah, no, exactly. Same thing with Soto. You got to give him the shot, even if he's gone 0 for 3 going into that last at bat. You're still going to give him the shot because he's your best chance to win that game. Who cares if he's
100%.
gone 0 for 3? You all you need him to have one good bat in a 4 at bats, and that one bat can win you the game. So
Win you a
who
game,
cares what
exactly.
he's done before? You know. So yeah, it'll be interesting. I don't know. I just the lineup is so broken down more than it's ever been. Like it's more like it's looked under through a microscope more than it ever was before, in my opinion. And so it's just not like it's not just based on let's put the best players up first and then put the lesser guys later in the order.
That's how it's usually set up. It's set up that way. It's like theatrical. You know what I'm saying? It's like, okay, these guys came to see these guys play. You know what I'm saying? Let's give them what they want. It doesn't work like that. You have to, you have to break that shit up. Yeah, especially now when you have all these stars on your team. You know what I'm saying? And you have egos and shit like that. You know what I'm saying? But everybody knows that they play a special part in the team, and it's a machine. It's not a cog. It's a machine, and everything needs to be working together. Like you said, a little bit of this, a little bit of that has to be working for the team to succeed. And out of all 3 things, do you think that you said we spoke about this? We don't think that we need all 3 things to be clicking at the same exact time. But if you know, 2 out of the 3 ain't working, then you're definitely not gonna get anywhere. You know what I'm saying? Because if you need your bullpen to be working right, you need your rotation to be working properly, and of course, you need the offense. And we're not even gonna talk about defense because that's a given. Like it's a given.
No, no, definitely. Defense is also part of the 4 main
Yeah,
keys to success.
yeah, you're 100% right. Because if you're hitting, you're getting 5, 6 runs a game, and then you're fucking giving up 3, 4. You know what I'm saying? Because on defensive errors, like you're not doing something right.
Yeah, no, definitely. You don't want like you said, you could offenses had a great night, starting rotation had a great night, bullpen comes in and implodes. There you go.
And
Three
plus,
out of four,
woo,
1 out of 3, 2 out of 3
world,
worked, and then the
and
one
that's the
thing
worst
didn't.
part. And that's how important a bullpen is, right there. That you just broke it down in such an ugly way. It's
Bullpen's more important nowadays
more
than
than yeah.
starting. Growing up, starting pitching was more important because the average pitcher
They
would go
went
seven
hard.
innings,
Yeah, they went hard. Yeah,
but they didn't throw as hard. They have more control, so they could last longer. These guys can't last
exactly.
long because everyone throws 1,000 miles
So
per
hard.
hour, so
Yeah,
they're blowing and they don't know how to pace. See, baseball is also kind of like track when it comes to pitching in the sense that you gotta learn how to pace yourself.
yeah. You have to
But
have
these guys, they base starting pitchers are not like sprinters in a track meet. They don't care. They're doing 100-yard dashes now. They're no longer doing 400-yard runs. It's now 100-yard dash because 4 innings, 5 innings is not like a 100-yard dash comparison in that sense. Because and they know that's all right. The guy's gonna pull me out in 4 to 5 innings. All right, well, balls to the wall, and give it my
exactly.
best. And then my arm, I got 5 days to recuperate. If I need more, they just put me in the IO or just say, hey, skip me. So that's what they're gonna do now.
Yeah, he blows his arm out in 5 innings, pitches a jewel. Here comes the bullpen, implodes, game over. Now he doesn't even get the win. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
Doesn't even get the win.
which is kind of annoying. But if he leaves the game and it's like a tied game, then
That's
he
a
still
no,
did
no
his job
decision.
in the
Yeah,
sense that
he did.
he
He did.
held
He
the
kept it
team from, you
exactly.
know,
Yeah,
he's
yeah,
not the
you're
reason
right.
why they won, but he's not also the reason why they lost.
No,
If
one
that
hundred
makes
percent. He
sense.
kept them in the game. He kept them in the game. You have to look at the positives. Silver linings there. But let's talk about Alonso. Let's talk about Alonso and what he's done this preseason. I got the numbers right in front of me, so yeah, I know you've read it and you've heard it because I know you dive deep. That's your team, and he hasn't really done much. All right, so let me explain something to you. He's played in 11 games so far, 29 at bats. 29 at bats is a pretty good resume. You're supposed to see something. 29 at bats, it's gonna show you something. It's gonna give you a sign of what's going on, right? So he produces 2 runs. He gets 7 hits, no doubles, no triples, 2 home runs. I saw one of them. I think that was the first day. 3 RBIs, 3 walks. 3 walks? That's interesting. And 3 strikeouts, which is pretty amazing. That was impressive for me.
Well, yeah, like I said, then the star players are just like the way it is in football. In football, you get
Yeah,
one
I
driver in
understand. You don't wrap it
preseason.
up. You don't wrap it up.
They're
I
not going to
know.
use them that
That
much. They're
I
just
know.
getting warmed up. So I'm not impressed. Like I said, I wake me up when the season starts. From
Yeah,
now, I'm
yeah.
just snoozing.
Same here.
I don't
Same here.
care. You
Same
know what I
here.
mean?
I
Like
stopped watching the exhibition
I'm not
games a
excited.
while ago. Me neither. It's not exciting
Yeah,
anymore. It's like, okay, I'm ready.
because no
Let's
one's
go.
playing.
Yeah, I'm ready.
Nobody is playing. I don't want. I hate preseason in all sports. The only time preseason is good is in football. If you drafted the number one quarterback and you want to see how he plays, that's the only time it's good. Other than that, you already know what your star players are. You already know what Alonso is. You already know what Lindor is. You already know what Soto is. You already know what Alvarez is. I don't need to watch it because, in my opinion, if it was me, spring training, how many games are there? Let's say what? I think it's like 20 games they play. In those 20 games,
Yeah,
I have all my guys
25.
start 5 games. That's it. And then the rest, you just have your guys who are trying to make the roster. That's it. That way, you rest the guys, and then those guys that are resting, they're resting. They're not playing in games, but they're still working out, doing their
Yeah,
basic drills,
yeah, of course.
getting
You have
warmed
to.
up in the batting cage, things like that. That's what I would do. But because the problem is now you risk injury too. You got now a lot of these guys aren't going balls to the wall in preseason, which is good. Because they already made the team, so they don't care. So, like I said, am I excited? No, preseason. Like I said, preseason means nothing carries over. It doesn't mean anything.
Yeah, I'm
Plus
tired. I'm tired of it.
Baltimore's. I think Baltimore and Minnesota. I think that's who they're playing. Those two cities, weather-wise, it's gonna be still cold. It's not Florida 75, 80 degrees every day right now.
Yeah, that's the one thing I hate about
So,
the season starts.
it's
The season start over here is hard, man. It's hard for the fans. It's hard for the team. The board doesn't travel. What I'm saying? It's hard to stand out there and swing, man. I've done it. I played in the league at work and it was horrible, man. We were playing at night and it was cold as fuck, bro. You know how hard it is to get into the groove? Like, oh man, it's terrible, especially when you're playing defense, man. Oh shit.
that, and with baseball, it's you're constantly there's a lot of stand alone time. If you're in the outfield, you're standing there waiting for a
Yeah,
play to happen. Blah blah blah. It's not like you're running in soccer the whole time or
exactly.
basketball
That's what I'm
or
saying. Yeah,
or
that's the
hockey. You're
problem.
constantly moving.
We ain't moving.
Uh,
We ain't moving.
so like I said, I don't take anything with preseason. Uh, those are fine numbers. 3 walks, whoop de doo. He's gonna have a high strikeout rate. Alonzo.
Yeah, hopefully
Uh,
not. Hopefully not. But right now he's not doing anything to impress me. Yeah,
no,
those 29 at bats. I'm pretty sure that he was trying to do something. Cause come on now, you just don't. You're taking
but
at bats. You know what I'm saying? You have to get ready for the season. Man, look what Soto's doing right now. Tatis. I want to see all those players. We're gonna look back and we're gonna see if any of that
carried over
translated.
from yeah.
Yeah, we're gonna check that out. We're gonna look for that.
Well, I don't know, man. I'll be honest with you because see, baseball is such a long season that these guys are gonna pace themselves. So where this tournament they're trying to win something.
Yeah, and it's short. Yeah, so
It's 2 weeks. It's what 20, what 4 8 was it? I think maybe like 12 games they played, maybe less, maybe like 8 games, whatever it is. It's probably less than 12 because it's four in the first round, and then however it was a quarterfinal. So 3 games, so 7 games total. These guys are playing. That's not a lot of games. You know what I mean? So you
yeah,
can go balls to the wall because it's only
yeah,
7 games.
yeah. But that's how you
Where
get hurt too. Yeah,
no, you could get hurt, so you gotta be careful. I agree with you on that. So, um, that's why. Uh, does this tournament help guys get their bats hot? Maybe.
of
I
course. I
guess
think
so. It
it
gives
does.
them
No,
that
it
game
does. It's
season form. Yeah,
yeah,
that it does.
yeah, 100%. I feel it does, man. I feel it does. I feel like if this is the type of tournament that can get a player really hot because he's seeing a lot of good pitching and he's getting into this mode. You know what I'm saying? Versus doing the preseason thing where pitchers aren't really throwing. They're tinkering. That's the word I was looking for. They're tinkering. They're trying to figure out what works, what doesn't work. They're trying it with live at bats and shit. But
Yeah,
when you're looking at really good pitching, because that opposing team wants to win too, Lasha. You know what I'm saying?
yeah,
So it's like, wow, I'm seeing really good pitching and I'm doing really well and I'm hitting the ball well. So like, that shit has to translate. That shit has to. It has to. It has to.
yeah.
It has to. It's like if you keep, if you do your reps and you stay, warm throughout the whole season. This is why I say, like, all right, when they say, oh, it takes Lindor a couple of months to get back into it, that's crazy to me because you have the off season. You're telling me that you're not preparing yourself at home during the off season? No, they're probably not because they're probably so tired of the fucking
It's a
game.
very short
A
off
break.
season. It's only
Yeah.
3.5 months if you think
Yeah,
about it. Not
but
even
this is
4.
what happens. You know what I'm saying? It's just like golf, man. Listen, if you can have an amazing game on Tuesday, right? But if you don't, tinker and play around or swing, that next game on Saturday is not gonna look so good. You know what I'm saying? You have to stay in it. You have to stay in it. You have to keep, those reps going. I'm trying to tell you, like that doesn't make any sense to me. But I'm pretty sure they go home. They're like, fuck this shit. I just want to relax. I don't want to even look at a bat. I don't want to look at no gloves. I believe it. I believe it.
No, for sure.
All that traveling, all that shit. They're just like, nah, I just want to break down right here and just hang out with my family. They don't get to do that either, it's crazy. So,
No, and then and these people, if they do, these guys, they're trying to go on vacation the minute season's over. They go on a
yeah,
family trip because they're gonna miss half their family most of the year. Yeah, they travel with him, but
it's not the
some
same.
kids, when the season starts, these kids, their kids, and they all have kids all in the school system. You can't just
Yeah,
like, okay, so you gotta stay back. A lot of these guys, they don't always live in this in the state that they play in.
and yeah,
It's just just the way it is. Especially if if you come from a warm environment like Cuba, Puerto Rico, DR, we're used to the warm. Like, are you really gonna stay in New York City in all year round in the winter? No, no way.
no way.
You know,
Going back home.
you can't even practice outside. Yeah, they have indoor places. Even these
Facilities, yeah.
guys that go to Tampa Bay, Florida, all these Yankee guys and the Mets, they all go to Port St. Lucie in the off season to get warmed up. They don't stay in Flushing.
Nah, of course not. It's too cold.
Yeah. So
So yeah, we're gonna see what happens, and we're gonna keep tabs on that.
for
So what
sure.
else? What else do you want to talk about? What else are you excited for? This whole season's gonna be different. It's gonna be crazy because we're gonna have a lot to look forward to. The ABS, new teams, new players, new teams in the division that are gonna try things and shit a different way. The Yankees are gonna fucking try to do it, with the same old squad. They're gonna try to do what they did last year or a little better because obviously they didn't win. So that was a bust. That's how they see things. So they didn't win the championship. That was a bust for them. They're gonna repeat with the same team. Something the Mets definitely did not do. Your team definitely tweaked here and there. You look crazy better, and I'm excited for you guys. But you have Toronto there. Toronto's gonna try to, trample. It's gonna be fun to watch. Your division is gonna be really, really fun to watch. Yankees, Toronto, Boston. All right, don't forget
Tampa
about
Bay.
Boston. All right, we have a lot going on in that division. That's gonna be probably the most fun division to watch. I guarantee it. Because the division with the Mets, I don't feel like Atlanta's gonna do anything. The Phillies are super
No,
old. You know what I'm saying? They're doing the same thing the Yankees are doing. They're gonna try to run it the same way,
running back.
run it back and shit. So let's see if that works out for them. The Mets are fresh, brand new. Let's see what happens with that. That usually, what I'm saying, that could work or it could really be bust. Like, we'll see what happens. Oh, and then we have, Washington, who has, they're getting better and better. They have some key pieces to their team already, and we know that they're not going anywhere. And they could surprise us. We shall see. The
Yeah,
Marlins, I'm not
the
worried about.
no, the thing I'm looking forward to is who's gonna be that Toronto team that comes out of nowhere and just shocks everyone and just makes a nice run. That's what I'm looking forward to. Because there's always a team that comes up that no one's expecting.
Yeah.
Are we gonna get another year where the Tigers were in the lead? I think it was the Tigers. They were lead for the division all year, and then came down to them, and then Cleveland came back and took the division. Are we gonna get that? You know what I mean?
No, listen, the
So
Tigers. I can't wait to see that too. Between Schoolball and Valdez, is that 40 games right there? Is that 40 games
it
right
could
there?
be.
Wow.
They
That's
got a good rotation. I like
listen.
their rotation.
Yeah, I like the rotation too. We shall see. It's gonna be such a fun season, man. I'm gonna be looking everywhere because there's a lot of action. There's a lot of stuff going on.
Yeah. For Atlanta, I'm obsessed with starting pitching in the sense that I'm a firm believer that the starting pitching is the engine, and if that engine is not good, then how far can you really go? Yeah, they got Schwellenbach, they got Strider. Besides those two, those guys, I think they'll have good seasons. It should be no problem. Offensively, I'm not too worried about offensively. I think they'll be fine offensively. They'll produce. It's just the starting rotation. And then the bullpen is suspect. Yeah, they got Suarez, the guy from San Diego. He's gonna be the closer. I hope so. Um, but they gave Raisel Iglesias a 1 year deal. So it'll be interesting how if he's gonna bounce back and do better than last year, or is he gonna be the same old self where he just implodes and But I don't think they're smart to bring in Suarez because now you don't have to put pressure on Iglesias to be the guy. Last year they didn't have a setup guy, so you know the pressure was on him on Iglesias to perform. So it'll be interesting how they do offensively. Like I said, Riley should be good. Olsen, uh, so, Drake Baldwin. It'll be interesting how he does. Murphy, he's still injured. The other problem is now they don't have a DH because Profar got suspended again, so they were banking on him to be the DH permanently. But now it's gonna be Eli White. So can he make a name for himself? It'll be interesting. They don't have Nick Allen anymore. He got traded to Houston. So it'll be interesting to see how they do. I can't think of the new shortstop they have off the top of my head, but there's a new shortstop that came in. Uh, they got Yastrzemski. That'll be interesting to see how he does. I like him. I think he's better defensively than Profar was in the outfield. So it'll be interesting how he does. So, like I said, the starting rotations, I'm concerned. Will they finish on the 500? I don't think so. I can see them winning 80 to 85 games. Atlanta. Uh, will they make the playoffs? Probably not. Philadelphia. I don't know if they can run it back just because they're getting older. Schwarber's getting older. Harper's getting older. Realmuto's
Yeah,
getting older.
those numbers are gonna be off.
You know what I
They're
mean? But
not
they have a
they're not
decent
trending.
rotation.
Yeah.
They have a good rotation. The bullpen isn't bad. So the question in with Philly is is the starting line is the starting lineup going to produce? That's the word. will they
That's the word.
produce?
Mm,
So
we shall see.
and then with them as far as the Mets, the rotation is going to produce.
No,
They're
no, no,
great.
no, no. But the rotation. This is the problem. See, this is what everybody's talking about right now. Okay, so obviously we have to go with the 6 man rotation, right? And the 6 man rotation obviously is going to start off with Peralta, right? Then McClain, then Senga. And Senga's the problem. He needs that extra, rest or whatever it is, right? So it's a 6 man rotation because of him. Then Sean Mania, right? Clay Holmes and David Peterson. I like it. I like it, but it really has to work, all right? And Sean Mania right now his velo is off. And he's not himself. Peralta got lit up by the Yankees the other day. I'm pretty sure that was all, him tinkering here and there. Hopefully he's himself, the player that we saw play in Milwaukee. And, he's a rental. So I'm assuming he's going to show us his best because he's playing for a contract this year. And are the Mets, what are the Mets going to do? Are they going to
With
wait
Mania, you
till.
mean?
No, with Peralta.
Oh
He's
yeah,
a
yeah,
rental.
yeah.
So the question is, what are the Mets going to do? Are they going to wait till the year's over and then fight for him after losing pieces to get him? Or are they going to wait for him to win 10 games and then say, all right, I see the potential. Now let's lock you in. I don't know how they're going to do it. Are they going to
Is
interfere with the magic midway through the season?
is
I think they
Peralta a
should.
Boris client? Because that's going.
Uh,
If he is, then
uh,
you already know the answer. If
yeah, I
he's a
already know
Boris
the
client,
answer.
then
He's not going to let it happen.
the Mets can't do anything. They're just gonna have to wait till the off season
Season.
and don't even bother talking to him because he's gonna wait for leverage. If
Yep.
he's not a Boris client and he's got somebody else as his, then his agent might take a different approach. You know,
Yeah.
if I was the Mets, I'd wait till the halfway mark to make a move. Let's see
Halfway
how
mark.
he's doing.
Yeah.
Yeah, let's see how he's doing. Is he lights out? Is he producing? And he's like, okay, man, this guy's on fire. He's on the verge of winning the Cy Young this year. Get
Yeah.
him now because if you wait longer, the money's gonna go up more. You
Yeah.
wait till the end of the season, his value's gonna go up even more.
That's right.
You know what I mean?
And if you make the playoffs and this guy's a 15-game winner, 17-game winner, then you really have to worry about it. And the problem is, of course, everybody's going to be in on that. And do we have the most money? But we don't want to overpay for something like that either. That's our problem. We haven't seen it since Stern joined us. We haven't seen anybody, when it comes to pitching anyway. Soto obviously, but we're talking about pitching. They're not that type of ball club anymore. They don't spend on that. So hopefully this works out. Listen, eventually, and this is the crazy thing. Usually you're like, oh, three of our pitchers are down way before the season starts, like right around this area. Like in the preseason or spring training, whatever you want to call it. It's spring training, obviously, but this is what I'm saying. Usually we have a couple of guys that are down, and they can't even throw. But this year, everything is looking okay. I mean, it's not like we don't have Tong there, and we don't have Christian Scott that can cover the holes if that were to happen. But we'll see, we'll see. The pitching looks interesting. It's like if it all clicks and it's working, oh man. Sometimes it works halfway and then it just falls off the wheels. I don't know. Let's see, let's see.
See, you know what I like about Mania having Mania? It gives more time for the other guys, the other starters, Christian
So
Scott,
to mature,
to hone in on his craft and get better, and then that way, when the season comes to him, you can say, you know what,
let's
Scott
bring
looks
them
great
up.
in the minors. Let him finish in AAA, and then Mania, goodbye, see ya.
No
And
doubt.
it's a low cost
Of course, that's how you
contract this
replace
year.
it. Replacing
Yeah,
him like that, yeah, that's perfect, one hundred
and
percent. And then Jonathan is gonna be ready too
Jonathan, I think he'll make the starting lineup, or what do you call it,
next year.
rotation. You think he'll go AAA this year?
I think so. I think he'll be able to. He's gonna have to start there. He already has the MLB experience. He has to go there. He
Yeah,
has to
so they
get.
they have 1 year of control. They lose that 1 year
Yeah.
of controllability.
So he has to, if he comes up, he'll come up because maybe
An
Clay
injury
Holmes isn't
occurs.
working, or an injury occurs, or Manaya or Holmes or somebody isn't doing their job properly, and they need to go down for rehab or whatever it is. You can see them spot starting. For
See, one
sure.
thing I like about the Clay Holmes thing is like, all right, if he struggles, you don't have to send him back to Myers or anything. You could just send, okay, you're in the bullpen now, and put
Bullpen.
him back in his natural position. He's not going to be
Yes.
upset. I don't think so.
No, he wants to be part of a winning club, and I think that he understands that to be part of a winning club, you have to kind of like shift and be flexible.
Yeah, you, you gotta be you gotta be willing to do whatever the club asks you to do. You
One
can't
hundred
be
percent.
sour grapes about it. They paid him a lot of money. Also, I really like the back end of the Mets bullpen. You got Luke Weaver. This is how I would do. Luke Weaver in the seventh, or Clay Holmes 7, Luke Weaver 8, 9 is Devin Williams, or you can rotate Williams and Weaver if Williams has another bad year like he did
And
last
you
year
have Kimbrough
and he
too. Don't
struggles.
forget, it didn't work out for you, but it could work out
Kimbrough,
for
yeah,
us.
he could be a spot saver. I call him spot saver. William needs a break. Okay, it's not the end of the world if it's like a game 3 of a series. It's not the end of the world if you won the series. Okay, bring in Kimbrough. If you lose it, great. If you win, great. If you lose it, the world is not going to come to an end. That's why I would put Kimbrough in a spot save. Give Williams a break. You won the series already. Who cares if you lose? Things like that. So forgot about that. So the Mets bullpen looks good in my opinion. So on paper they look like a World Series contender. On paper. Now
Yeah,
let's
they
see if
look
that
good. They
carries
look good.
over.
The series carries over, but there's a lot of teams you have to go through. You know what I'm saying? It's not gonna be easy. So I'm not expecting much, but I want to see good baseball. I want to see them gel. You know what I'm saying? I want to see that team work out. I want it to be something like 2024 when you had that that unit. They loved each other. They had fun. They were playing really good baseball together. I want to see that. It was apparent. You didn't have to question. What's going on in that clubhouse. It was good. It was nice to watch.
Yeah, they're all gelled really well.
Yeah, they did. That's the oh my god era. That was a really really good ball club. I like shit like that. Makes me happy. Makes me want to go to the games. You know what I'm saying? Makes me want to root for those guys. We shall see, brother. But now, what else you want to talk about? There's a lot of things we need to talk about, but you know, I like what you said about that rotation shit. It's really important. It's really important.
Yeah,
So
well, I
now,
would say the rotation is the tone setter for the rest of the game. Because based on how the starter does, now you can save your best guys in the rotation and bring in someone else may not be your main guy in the bullpen. You can just bring in somebody else and just say, you know what, let's try it out, see how he does. If he does great, great. If not, then I can bring in my main guy if I have to. Like that's another example. If if the Mets go into the seventh inning and they're winning 6-2, okay, I can bring in Kimbrough. I don't have to lose anything. I'm not and let it get his workout on. You know what I mean? And if he implodes, all right, cool. If he gives up 2 runs, you'd say, okay, I'll bring in Kimbrough. But if he makes it where it's 6-4, okay, now I can bring in Weaver. I can bring in Clay Holmes. You know, so you have room to play with. So that's a nice thing. That's a good problem to have if you're the Mets or any team, with a bullpen, things like that. From the Orioles standpoint, it'll be interesting how they do bullpen wise. They got Kittredge back. They got Helsley. He's gonna be the starter closer. It looks like because Bautista's not ready yet again. So it's gonna be year number 2 that he's not gonna be after Tommy John surgery that he's not gonna be available. So it'll be interesting how he does for the Orioles. There's a lot of unknowns, and that's the thing that's what makes me hesitant about whether they're gonna be good or not. when there's a lot of unknowns, it's hard for me to be like, like with the Mets. I know for sure. I'm very confident the Mets are going to be good. They're going to be a playoff contender. The question is how far can they go? With the Orioles, I don't know if they're going to be a playoff contender. I'm going by what happened last year. On paper, yeah, they look better. They're getting a couple guys that were out last year back. But what are they gonna be like? Physically. The other thing is with the Orioles is Matt Holliday really has not Matt Holliday, Jackson Holliday really hasn't shown his true colors of what they expect him to be. What he did in the minors, he hasn't really done that. He's been inconsistent. Is he going to be a power hitter this year? Is he going to produce a lot of runs? Yeah, we know he plays well defensively. Same thing with Gunnar Henderson. He had a down year offensively. Adley Rutschman, a down year offensively. I want to see how he does. I want to see how Adley Rutschman does because if he doesn't do that well, Baltimore could trade him at the trade deadline on the offseason and say, all right, Basai, you're it. That's what they're going to do with that catcher position. Rotate who's going to be the better guy. And then they're going to determine who's going to help us in the long term, because they're both still under control. That's a nice thing about it. And also, they still carry good trade value if you need to trade him. Mountcastle is hurt for the Orioles, so he was the first baseman last year, but he was going to be a rotational guy in the sense that he can rotate him around because Alonso's at first, so he does, technically him getting hurt is not the end of the world. He can take his time coming back. You have Alonso, but he was going to be that was he's going to be the fill-in for when Alonso can't play at first,
Nah,
or
Alonso plays. He's gonna play 162 fucking games. That guy's a monster. When it
yeah,
comes to that
but it's
shit, he's.
DH or starting at first. He's
Oh,
gonna,
see that?
you know
Oh,
what I
that's a
mean?
different story. Yeah, it's a different story.
Because the nice thing about having Mountcastle is now you can give him a rest start. You can be like, you know what, Alonso, you just stay DH today. Mountcastle will play the field, and you have that nice option. It's a good
Gotcha.
problem to have.
That's a good problem to have.
You
I
know,
like that.
same. So that's what I'm hoping for. Uh, my biggest thing is what I'm looking for is I need these guys, the Hendersons, the Rutschmans, and the Holidays to produce because those guys did not produce last year. I don't care what anybody says. They did not produce. My theory producing, my definition of producing is where all three guys hit 30 plus home runs each. That's my definition of producing.
Yeah,
They're gonna be fine defensively. Defensively, they weren't that. The
yeah,
reason why they were bad last year, they didn't have a rotation. They're plug and play guys, Soganos, Charlie Mortons, one hit wonders. They weren't their main guys. This year, they got Tyler Wells. He's coming back. They got Kyle Bash. Those are guys they're banking on to be the starters because that's what they came up as in their minor league system. So they need those guys to produce. They
yeah.
didn't get a lot of
It's
starting
true.
pitchers.
Sam, what you think about this? The stealing now. You see how the stealing came back into the game. You notice how you see a lot more of it.
Well, it's a
Like
lot more
similar
now
to back in the
because
day. I mean,
it's
uh,
more now because the bases are closer. So of course it's going to increase. I
I
like it. Don't
mean,
get me wrong. It puts pressure.
so you think that we're gonna see like higher numbers this year, like
Yeah.
seven in the 70s? You think we're gonna see 70s this year?
Yes, because the bases are brought in closer.
Okay, we're gonna see. All right, we're gonna be looking at that too. All right, and I think that it makes the game a lot more fun. You can play with that. You can that changes the game. It's a sneaky move that if done properly and if it works, 'cause it's a dangerous. You're gambling once again. But if it works, oh man! If you have a team that can constantly do it, and an average at least 2 to 3 a game, yeah, you're doing yourself a good service there.
Yeah, no, like I said, it's gonna put a lot of pressure on that opponent's pitching, and it's gonna put a lot of pressure on their defense because those guys gonna have to on defense have to know to be in the right places because when the with baseball they the shift is gone now, so you can no
Yeah,
longer do what they used to do. So it makes it more so that makes it it makes it harder for the defense
It's a
And it
lot
makes
challenging.
it
Yeah.
easier for the defense for the runner because they already know. Okay, I know the guy can't move, so and if I know that guy at second base is a lot slower to get to second base than I am, if I know I'm like a Lindor and I know the guy at second base is not as fast as me, I know I can get to that second base without a problem stealing it. You know,
Hmm. Yeah. You have to, all these little, like the bunt too. The bunt has to come back, man. Nobody's using the
moving
bunt
the runner over.
properly.
I know. I love
Nobody,
it.
I love it,
Small
man.
ball.
Yeah, man. Like we need to see a lot more of that. The stealing's coming back. You can see it happening, and people are gonna be chasing records and shit like that. So
Ricky Henderson's record.
yeah, right. They're not. Nobody's beating that record, but they're gonna be chasing the new record. They're gonna be
It's
like,
more
well,
likely now.
yeah, it's more likely now. But like I said, it came back. It's fun. I like it. It's an element that was gone for a while. Now the bunting needs to come back. We need to start understanding that that really works, and it's a situational type situation. It's a situational at bat. You have to. Everything has to be you know going in the right direction, and everything has to be in the right spot for it to work. You know, but yeah, I think so. But we have a
Well,
trivia question. We have
bunting
a
is a
trip.
bunting
What's that?
is an art. Well, people don't. That's what's
It
basically
is.
baseball's
It's a
lost.
specialty.
Bunting is an art, and most of these guys are not good at it. You know what I mean? Because there's just no guy wants to go up there and say, "I'm gonna bunt today." No, they want to hit a
No.
home run,
Yeah, they want to hit a
and
home run, but that's stupid though.
you
We
know,
don't know that.
and their eyes get juicy when they say, "Ooh, base is loaded, and I can come up to the plate." You tell Lindor, "Oh, hey Lindor, do me a favor.
Lay
It's
down a
one
bunt.
out. One out, base of load. Do me a favor, man. Just lay down the bunt. He ain't gonna do that. Maybe a guy who's
Listen,
a
it's not.
novice
It's
is
not up to
going.
him.
He's
But
gonna
listen,
do it.
no, no, it's not about that. It's the element of surprise. Nobody's expecting it, and it's gonna work just because of that alone. It's gonna fuck them up, and they're gonna have to try to figure it out on the fly. And it's gonna be like, holy shit, what did he just do?
A,
And it's gonna create runs, man. And that's what you want to do, right? Come on.
a guy like Roberts is the guy who I would put in the bunt situation because he's fast. He's gonna put a lot of pressure. There's a good chance there's gonna be a throwing error at first base, just because Roberts is fast and it puts a lot of pressure.
Nah, this guy's gonna break down. For some reason, they're really babying him. I hope that he doesn't break down. This guy can't play 162, boy. He better get close or even try. But we want this guy to be healthy. They see something. They're trying to make sure that he gets through it and he's able to start the season healthy. The Mets are doing something different. Like I said, I'm surprised that no one on the rotation is hurt at this moment. That's pretty impressive. But trivia question, since we were talking about stealing,
Sure,
right?
bring it.
Okay. So who holds the record for the most consecutive stolen bases while getting caught? You don't have to give me the years, but you have to give me the player. And I'll give you a clue. He used to play for the St. Louis Cardinals, for sure. And I might drop another hint on you in a second, but let's see
Ooh,
how you
St.
do with
Louis
that.
Cardinals. Jim. I don't know if he's on the Cardinals anymore.
Let's start with a number. Give me a number. I don't want you to,
It wasn't Molina. He's not, he can't steal. Uh, Tommy Edmonds. I don't know. I'm just throwing a name. Just someone I know on the Cardinals. Let's see. Definitely wasn't McGuire. Matt Holiday maybe. Matt Holiday. I'll put him in stealing. No, he wasn't really a stealer. So no Matt Holiday. No Molina. No Carpenter. Who else? Um, I don't think it's somebody recent, right? It
No, it's
wasn't somebody
definitely
recent.
not. No, it's definitely not somebody recent.
Okay, so it had to be someone like that. Was like in the '80s and '90s, someone in that range year wise.
Okay, that sounds about right. That sounds about right for you.
'80s and '90s. Okay. Hmm.
St. Louis Cardinals.
I don't know, man. St. Louis Cardinals. Um,
That's the hint I'm gonna give you. I might give you one more in a second to speed the process.
I really don't know. I'm gonna go with I don't know.
You're gonna go with it was Vince Coleman. He had 50
Vince
in a
Coleman.
row. You know what? That's you know how hard it is to pull that off. 50 stolen bases in a row. This guy's like, I'm just gonna go steal that. Like,
That's a lot.
you know, he's 64 now.
Wow.
He was a great. He was a great.
About my
Started in
father's age, so you're
'97.
younger than my father.
Yeah, and ended up with St. Louis from 90 to 85, and that's where he retired. But he played for the Mets too from 93 to 91. I remember that. I remember that actually. I do. I remember that. But he played for, a couple of teams. Pretty cool dude. So, that was a good show, man. I think, we dropped a lot of knowledge, a lot of opinions on how we feel about the game and what we would do strategically, and we're gonna catch you guys on the next one for sure. Peace, Slash.
See you, man.